Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, February 25, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the US Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the time period from March 5 to March 11, as well as March 12 to March 18. And we can see that across the Caribbean right here we have Jamaica, there is nothing being highlighted, nothing being shaded in the greens that represents above normal rainfall, as we can see from the key on the bottom. We don't see any tropical cyclone formation probability in the red. We do, however, see some of this across the southern Indian Ocean near Madagascar right here. We also see another one right here across the northern portions of Australia. It's their season, the southern hemisphere in general for sure. And we can see some above normal rainfall across portions of the western Pacific, northern South America. That's basically it. If we take a look at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and the latest GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today, we're going to be focusing our attention at the timestamp right here as we go out to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. We're also going to be focusing our attention on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So as stated, we've been watching this low pressure system that has a cold front attached to it, extending all the way down to portions of the Western Caribbean, Central America right there. And we saw it even better on the infrared satellite imagery. Look at all of the clouds, showers and thunderstorms right here to the northeast of the Bahamas, to the east of the US. And we see the clouds extending all the way down to portion of the Bahamas, Cuba, the Western Caribbean, including the Cayman Islands and Honduras. And we also saw that some of these clouds were coming in. We had a low level southeasterly flow today that definitely brought some amount of clouds, and then we saw that all of the motion into in terms of the low level to mid level clouds started to change towards the northeast and towards the east as the day progressed. It started out with more of a southeasterly flow, then it became southerly, then it became more of a southwesterly to more of a westerly kind of flow across the island. So we're gonna be looking at what's in store for the next 7 days. So let's go. As we head into Wednesday, not seeing really much of anything for the morning, even although we don't see it. That doesn't mean that it can't occur. We could get some isolated showers here and there. Then by afternoon, that's when we start to see the greens represent moisture extending across the eastern to the central to the western ends of the island for sure. Thursday morning, look at all of the moisture across northern and eastern parishes of the waters to the north and east of us. Very interesting. We also see rainfall dancing around the island at that time. Thursday afternoon, that's where we see all of the moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes for sure. Heading into Friday morning, we still see that moisture dancing around us. And as we see Friday afternoon, it's eastern, central, western parishes getting in on the rainfall. Heading into Saturday morning, not seeing much of anything on land, but we do see some dots of greens to the south of us, to the east of us, out to sea. Then by Saturday afternoon, we see that rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. Heading into Sunday, what do we see? Not much of anything on land, but we do see some isolated showers to the south of us, some isolated showers to the east of us, to the south of the western peninsula of Haiti. Heading into Sunday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes for sure. Monday morning, we see some rainfall across northern and eastern parishes. We also see some rainfall to the south of us. Then by Monday afternoon now, it's across eastern, central, and western parishes. So it seems like it's going to be more of a dry morning for most of the days, with afternoon rainfall for sure. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, March 4, 2025. And we see the moisture right here across portions of the Bahamas, Cuba, extending all the way into portions of the northern sections of the North Atlantic, associated with another frontal system. We also see some isolated shores right here across eastern Jamaica. Let us match this latest Euro model to the latest GFS. Let us see if we have some agreement on both models. So as we head into Wednesday morning, not seeing much of anything on land. What we're seeing is more white than anything else. Most of the moisture associated with the system is pushing off to the east, as we could see there. Then by Wednesday afternoon, 0Z on Thursday is actually 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So we're talking about Wednesday afternoon into the early evening hours. We're seeing the greens represent moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. So it's going to be a wet afternoon for sure. Thursday morning, we see that rainfall circling the island, especially across northern and eastern parishes. Very interesting. Then by the end of the day on Thursday, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes once again. Friday morning, not much of anything. Friday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across sections of some central and western parishes. Saturday morning, we see that moisture to the east of us and across sections of some northeastern parishes. Then Saturday afternoon into the evening, we see that rainfall extending from east to the western end of the island. Sunday morning, look at the moisture across the north of the island as well as the waters to the east of the island. Then by the end of the day on Sunday, look at the moisture extending from the east to the western end. Monday, we see an abundance of moisture across the waters to the north of us, across western and eastern parishes on Monday morning. Monday afternoon, very wet across sections of most parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Tuesday, March 4. And we see the moisture associated with another system extending from the Bahamas all the way over into the northern portion of North Atlantic. We also see some isolated shores across eastern, central, and western parishes. We'll see how that actually goes as we head out into the next 168 hours for sure. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall combined from now all the way up until Tuesday, March 4. And we can clearly see all of the rainfall as represented by the greens. That represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up into the yellows, all the way up to 0.3 or 0.4 of an inch of rainfall. The oranges, that's 0.5 of an inch of rainfall all the way up into the reds, that's representing up to 1 inch of rainfall. The burgundies, 2 to 2.5 inches of rainfall. The purples into the pinks, 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days, according to the latest Euro and the latest GFS model, should be right here where we see the dark reds into the purples. We're talking about western Venezuela, southern Venezuela, Colombia, eastern Panama, right there. That's where the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be. So there could be some isolated flash flooding in some spots. So we just hope that the residents who live in those areas are taking the necessary precautions so that they're not that drastically affected by what's to come. We can also see the reds into the burgundies. That's representing 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in store for portions of Panama, section of eastern Nicaragua, Honduras right here. We also see even portions of El Salvador shaded in some of this section of the Bahamas, eastern Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the northeastern Caribbean, especially Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique right here, into portions of the Windward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, coastal areas of Guyana, Suriname, section of French Guyana getting in on some of the action too. And if we match this latest Euro to the latest GFS, we definitely see that we have the consensus that these areas are going to be picking up some amount of rainfall within the next 7 days. And if we get closer into Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, we can clearly see that there's going to be rainfall extending from the eastern end to the western end. So the pattern has definitely shifted. It's not anything confined to northeastern parishes anymore, with that northeasterly flow that we've been receiving with that relief rainfall for Portland and St. Mary. It's starting to shake up. We're starting to switch up, incorporating most parishes. The Euro going all the way up to at least up to 43 millimeters of rainfall. In the yellows, we know that the most in the way of rainfall is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. We're talking about the blues into the greens into the yellows, and we can see the yellows across section of the island, sections of even western Portland, southeastern St. Mary, section of Kingston, St. Andrews, shaded in some of the yellows. Most parishes shaded here on this Euro in the greens. The GFS also highlighting most parishes in the greens that represent 15 to 30 millimeters of rainfall. The western end, however, getting in on those blues, maybe 7 to 15 millimeters of rainfall. And we also see the yellows across section of the island, maybe up to 30, close to 40 millimeters of rainfall for sure. We will see exactly what happens, and I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can make out the low pressure system right here to the east of Florida, and we can see the blue spike line right here extending into the northwestern Caribbean associated with that cold front. We can also see numerous frontal systems to the north of the areas of low pressure, one here off the east coast of the US and another one extending all the way over into the northern portion of North Atlantic. And to the east of that, we have a ridge of high pressure that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we match what we just saw on the latest surface map to the latest visible satellite imagery before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. The clouds associated with the areas of low pressure right here to the east of Florida. The clouds associated with the cold front to the west of Jamaica, affecting portion of Central America, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas as we speak. We can also see the clouds associated with the frontal systems extending all the way over into the northern portion of North Atlantic. And we can make out the low-level flow of the low-level clouds to the mid-level clouds being steered from east-west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north of the basin. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, February 25, 2025. It was stated that rainfall was in the forecast of parts of some southern parishes on Tuesday morning, also affecting sections of some northern parishes, especially during Tuesday afternoon. And we know southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. While northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And what ended up happening? At around 3:55 a.m., the infrared close-up satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely make out the clouds coming in from the south, bring some overcast skies. Well, not really overcast because it was the early morning, so it was definitely dark, so we wouldn't know if it's overcast or not. But we definitely had the clouds bring some isolated showers to sections of Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and most of these clouds were moving towards the northwest, all courtesy of the southeasterly flow that we talked about yesterday, pushing those clouds into section of some northern parishes, including Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, for sure. The eastern end definitely was getting in on the sunny conditions this morning, for sure. And then at around 10:01 a.m., the visible satellite images were posted, highlighting the clouds still bringing the overcast skies to section of some southern parishes and pushing northward into northern Jamaica, while the eastern end still void of most of the clouds. So it was mainly central and western parishes getting in on the brunt of that action at that time, 10:01. Then by around 1:51 p.m. we started to get in on some of the action. Look at the clouds starting to shift a bit and push towards the east. So the eastern end, we're starting to get in on our fair share of the cloud cover, if not rainfall. Definitely got some rainfall in my section of St. Thomas. Got home to it soaking wet. And most of the rainfall that was affecting portion of Clarendon and St. Catherine from morning started to push into section of Kingston and St. Andrew before we lost the sunlight. And we definitely have confirmation of this. Highlighting right here, See Jamaica's YouTube channel, the flat bridge, showing it being soaking wet for sure. They definitely got in some amount of light to moderate rainfall across the Bogwalk Gorge right here in St. Catherine. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images, the HD footage of the Jamaica era, we can see where we definitely had that southerly flow, and then by the time we were starting to lose the sunlight, it became more of a west to easterly kind of thing. Look at the western end of the island clearing out, while the eastern and the central portion of the island still had clouds, and most of it was starting to push out towards the east. So a bit unusual, because you know that we're used to more of an easterly to a westerly kind of flow, and then by the end of the day it's usually the western end of the island getting in on the action. So it's nice to have a change once in a while with the clouds on our side of the island, bring us the rainfall by the end of the day. Thank heavens. And we can see the infrared close-up satellite images, not showing much of anything in terms of the high cold cloud tops. No cumulonimbus clouds, no blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, grays, purples, anything like that. All the clouds that brought the overcast skies, if not the rainfall today, we're definitely in the lower level to mid levels of the atmosphere for sure. It's the cumulonimbus clouds that are in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Taking a look at the flat bridge camera, so it's not even only the flat bridge, but at around 4:10 we saw we were getting on some rainfall on the flat bridge camera, even on the halfway tree camera. At 5:03 we see people right here walking with their umbrellas, windshield wipers on for sure. Even in the Barbican area at around 7:25 we see people walking with their umbrellas, definitely soaking wet. The crossroads camera look towards the north. We're looking at the hills of St. Andrew. Can't even make them out at all. Definitely got that rainfall. Crossroads soaking wet. The corporate area definitely got a good soaking. Even the panoramic city view right here looking towards Kingston, if not New Kingston, and barely even make out the area to show that we've been receiving some amount of rainfall for sure. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just go over to See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map isn't 100% to scale, but it does paint quite the picture that we got some amount of rainfall across the island today, and we're indeed grateful for this. And we definitely got some comments coming in today on all our social media platforms. Checking out our YouTube page, we had Marsha Edwards confirming the rainfall in her portion of Mapin Clarendon today. We also have Roxanne Campbell 8369 stating light rain in Trelawney 7 hours ago. Livingston, York 78.7 stating I'm in Mount Maria, St. Anne, and we are having light rain. We have Lawrence Davidson 6195 stating sun came out for a bit in Mobe but gone back overcast. Now I'm still getting some solar power, 100 to 200 watts down from a max of 2000 watts, enough to run my washing machine. So I'm doing a load of laundry. Every home in Jamaica should have at least one solar panel. I should definitely invest in one of those for sure. What a good advertisement, Mr. Davidson. We also have Warren Barton 5374 stating had some good showers of rain in Greater Portmore. Even on our TikTok page, we had the rainfall comment coming in. We have one right here from Simi stating it's raining in Nami Bay area. We have Shana Darby 7 stating rain in Clarendon. Angie Angel, it's raining all day in Manchester. We have another person right here. It's overcast now in Spanish Town. Tracy Fairclough stating it's raining in St. Catherine. Even right here, we have some more comments coming in. Juan Tommy, rain in Spain. Kelisha Jones, it's raining. Gavin Brown, it's raining. Diamond Thread, it's overcast in the hills of St. Andrew. Think Ness's life in Mandeville, but I'm loving it. We even had some comments coming in here on our Instagram page. Our rain 2.5, rain for days. We even have Sassy La Hermosa, raining from morning in Clarendon. Petrina Fraser, it's raining. God's Gift _ Michelle, it's raining in Mandeville. We also have Marlon _1 God _ rain in Clarendon. Diva _ Stacy, loving the rain. South is getting it from early. We have Realm _ JA, Portmore got a heavy downpour today. We also have Abigail Willow stating raining all day. Unruly _ Roseanne, raining in Landau, St. Thomas. KB 1975, W, raining on Washington Boulevard. Al _N 406 stating it's raining in Portmore. On Bothered Zana, it's raining Chisholm Avenue side. We have _ for Square Farm stating raining in Red Hills. Edwards Tanisha, we got rain starting minutes to 5 this morning, heavy, then not heavy, not due all day today in South Manchester. Loving the earth getting soaked. I'm also loving it for you. And we also have Michelle.price.71, raining in Bogwark. Kemar 8631, rainfall a Central Village. To our only earboat, big up the rain. Alright. We also have Marcia Freeman, overcast, drizzling, and cool, perfect. Marcia Thompson, rain in Mandeville. Yes. Lance Brown, it's raining. We also have Angela Bennett, we are having rain in Manchester from morning until now. Emma Reed, same here. Gate Watcher, short light drizzle in Spanish Town. And finally, we have Jenny Campbell stating raining decently now. And I want to thank you all for confirming the rainfall in your area today that was predicted. Alright, so let us see what's happening right now according to the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let's see what's happening right now. And the latest still image is as of 0025 UTC, which is actually around 7:25 p.m. So that just came out 9 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:34 p.m. And we can make out some of the milky whitish colors associated with the low to mid-level clouds, bring maybe some isolated showers still to sections of central and eastern parishes. We also see some clouds right here to the northwest of the island. Very interesting. Wish we could match the latest Cuban Doppler radar images to what we're seeing, but the Cuban Doppler radar has been glitched out for the longest while now. The Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery is here though, and we're making out the blues into the greens into the yellows that represent some light to moderate rainfall, and we can see the flow of the rainfall. It's not moving in the usual northeast to southwest direction or east to west direction. Look at the direction that it's moving. It's moving more of a west to east, if not a southerly or southwestern to northeastern kind of flow towards the eastern end of Cuba, towards Haiti as we speak. Well, we see some of that rainfall right here affecting portions of the northeastern end of the island, Portland for sure. Unfortunately, the Cayman radar is down for maintenance. Boy, these radar sites keep going blank, but we'll work with it. Hopefully they get it back sorted out soon. Taking a look at what's happening right now, according to See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the flat bridge in St. Catherine. Definitely drying up a bit, even though we got some soaking rain earlier. People in their vehicles going about their business. Maybe we could get on some more lingering isolated showers tonight. Maybe all the way up into the early morning hours. We'll see how it actually goes. Let's see what's happening right now in terms of the temperatures. Given that the rain fell, if not the overcast skies, it makes sense that we're getting up to 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston as we speak. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 22 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can see Jamaica right here in some slight orange colors, yellows into orange. So let's just say it's at least up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature for Wednesday. And we know the normal temperature for the month of February across Jamaica is around 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.1 degrees Celsius. So you should be receiving anywhere from 30.1 degrees Celsius to 31.1 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And unfortunately, we have a few maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page to highlight, because we know that when we have power outages in our area, it can definitely exacerbate the heat, making the heat feel even worse. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Wednesday, February 26, 2025. We're referring to Belmont District to King Weston and Mount Cheerful in the parish of St. Andrew from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., as well as Unity Square to Border District, including Luna and Pigeon Valley, from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. in St. Andrew as well. We're also referring to Content as well as Mavis Bank in St. Andrew from 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. too. Alright, either way, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, when outside, seek shade. Eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of drinking lots of water throughout the day. Drink lots of water. Even if you're not thirsty, put away those sugary drinks as well. Drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see that there's an abundance of dry air across the entire Atlantic basin. We see the most dry air right here of the coast of Africa is represented by the reds into the slight orange, well, into the whites within those reds. And we also see that the low end of the scale in terms of dry air is across portions of the, let's say, waters to the north of the Eastern Caribbean, as well as the central to the southwestern Caribbean right here. You also see a lot of moisture across the Eastern Pacific and the waters of the southern main development region right here in the intertropical convergence zone to the east of French Guiana. That's where the most moist air is, as represented by the blues. You also see a lot of moist air because of all the clouds associated with the frontal system and the areas of low pressure right here. So it makes sense that we've been getting on some amount of rainfall today for sure. What we're also grateful for is the fact that the Saharan dust forecast isn't showing much in the way of anything for us. This is the forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can make out some of the slight Saharan dust right here across portions of the main development region into portion of northeastern South America right there. And we don't see a vigorous plume at all. We know that the vigorous plume is represented by the dark shades of browns, and we know that the dark shades of browns mean we could get on some very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some person. So we're grateful that for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, North America, the Bahamas, majority of the Caribbean, Northern and Northwestern South America, as well as Central America, should be in the clear for that time period. In terms of the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing the light shades of blues into the dark shades of blues, extending from the Gulf into the Bahamas, Northwestern Caribbean to the Central and Eastern Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 0.5 of a meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height, while the highest waves should be right here to the north of the ABC Islands, as well as to the north of the Eastern Caribbean and the east of the Eastern Caribbean. We see the purples into the pinks that we know represents anywhere from 2 to 3 meter wave heights. But if we close in on Jamaica, that's about up to at least 0.7 of a meter wave height on the north coast, up to 1 meter wave height on the south coast. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see the dull greens across portion of the Bahamas into Jamaica area. Much of the greater Antilles getting in on the 5 to 10 to maybe 15 knots at most. The waters of the Gulf, more of a southeasterly flow with the maybe 10 to 15 knot range. The Eastern Caribbean, more of an east-southeasterly, maybe southeasterly flow as well. We see the greens, maybe 15 to 20 knots at most. But if we close in on Jamaica regarding our wind forecast, look at this. Not much strong winds at all. Look at these dull greens representing up to 9 knots on the south coast. Maybe 5 knots on the north coast coming in from the northeast. Very interesting. and the Euro and the GFS are adamant about this forecast. And we also see that the air should be piling up across inland areas of some eastern, central, and western parishes. So a very interesting forecast for sure. We could getting on some daytime heating, bring about some isolated showers for sure. And if we take a look at the upper level wind shear at the time for Wednesday, the wind shear should be coming in from the west as well. Either way, didn't see much rain for the morning. That doesn't mean that it can't occur, but the afternoon is showing rainfall. This is 3 p.m. on the Euro and 3 p.m. on the GFS. And what do we see? There's definitely consensus for the blues that represent rainfall across the eastern end, the central areas, as well as the western ends of the island for sure. We see the blues. There could definitely be some afternoon rainfall on Wednesday, so look out for that. Bring your umbrella as well. Just like with today, it's the dry season, but boy, this is a lush dry season. I'm sure that we've seen that the area is green, not really that bad in terms of, the browns and all of the fire trucks running up and down. I did hear a lot of fire trucks going about in January, but I guess that's a bit calmed down a bit by now, and there's no complaining right here. You can also see that the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that there's going to be rainfall somewhere in Jamaica tomorrow. The Euro showing a lot of yellows across the island, representing all the way up to 0.35 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going all the way up to 0.28 of an inch of rainfall. We will see exactly what unfolds, and whatever happens, we'll definitely take it, because we're in the month of February. We're in one of our driest months of the year. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 19 millimeters of rainfall. I'm pretty sure that with the rainfall today, it might have even exceeded that. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.9 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of February or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. Alright, so keep in mind also that if you'd like to convert the rainfall that we receive on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters, you can use this nice graphic right here, because we know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus your attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have that moist southeasterly flow brought about by the gradient around that low pressure system. Definitely bring some isolated showers into portions of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic today. Section of Jamaica definitely got in on some of that action before we started to get in on the effects of that frontal system's flow from the west to the east. We can also see thunderstorms across section of Colombia. They've been getting it. We can even make out the rainfall that southern Belize, Guatemala, Honduras have been receiving. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean, we can make out that rainfall that portions of Puerto Rico got today. They're still getting some isolated showers as we speak in the degrees, maybe some light to moderate rainfall. So too across sections of Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe getting on some of the action too. And loading these images from earlier today, we can see that moderate to heavy rainfall, that southeasterly flow, that sections of Puerto Rico we're definitely getting in on today, maybe even some isolated flash flooding in some spots. Not seeing much of anything across the Barbados radar right now. And we do make out some isolated showers to the north of there, pushing from southeast to northwest, maybe affecting sections of Dominica, Guadeloupe later on. We see some hit or miss isolated showers passing from east, south, east, west, northwest towards St. Vincent and Grenadines, maybe Tobago getting on some of the action, maybe even Trinidad, sections of eastern Venezuela. We also see some rainfall right here across section of Colombia. And regarding where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, we see the greens into the yellows into the reds. That represents anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to maybe an inch of rainfall for portions of Colombia, sections of Cuba, the Bahamas, sections of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, as well as Puerto Rico, Honduras. We also see some isolated showers in the greens and the yellows for a portion of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, section of southern and western Venezuela, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador right there, sections of the Cayman Islands, as well as sections of the Turks and Caicos And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.